Hello and welcome to this week's textile adventure. This video is very chill and very casual, and it documents my family's summertime ice dye party. Basically, we ordered a whole bunch of new fiber reactive dye colors from Dharma Trading Company, as well as some white clothes, some of which were thrifted and some from Dharma. And then we spent this beautiful sunny day in my parents' backyard going absolutely wild with color. The goal of the weekend's dye adventure was literally just to have a good time, to experiment and to hone our dyeing skills, and to hopefully make some pieces that we'll actually love and wear. This first garment that you see me tying up is a really simple kimono-style cover-up made from white rayon fabric, and I'm using my tiny little hair ties to give this fabric some concentric rings. This simple technique is one of my favorites. It's not hard to do, but it's pretty time-consuming. But the super bold graphic results make it all worthwhile in my opinion.
Oh, that's intense.
I don't know why I did that.
After tying up the whole thing, I then put it into a plastic container. And then I covered it with a layer of ice. And I sprinkled it with soda ash, which is a chemical that fixes dye to fabrics. I generally use a 1:3 ratio of my dye powder to soda ash, so 1 part dye to 3 parts soda ash. But realistically, I don't actually measure anything out when I'm doing these kind of improv dye days, I just kind of visualize it. For my dyes, I sprinkled on a whole bunch of different colors that spoke to me in the moment and that felt like they could go together. That included silver lining, avocado, chartreuse, steel gray, blueberry, and shiitake mushroom. And I just added little bits of each one, letting some overlap and some stand alone. No thoughts here, just creative flow and an excitement about not really knowing what the outcome is actually going to look like. We also got some really simple elastic waist skirts and pants to dye, which my sister and I planned on packing for our upcoming trip, where we knew we'd need some lightweight, loose-fitting clothes. So why not make them colorful and fun?
All right, is that how we're modeling pants? Yeah, that's a good look. Yeah, that's... Yup, there she goes.
My sister explored some triangle-shaped folding techniques, which I also played around with on one of my own pairs of pants too. I also made this complete nonsense, which is basically me folding my pants over and over again, tying it with a rubber band right in the middle, and then randomly pinning and sticking clothespins inside the folds and pleats. My logic here was basically non-existent. I just followed an impulse and I wanted to see where it would take me. Since these 2 pairs of pants folded up pretty small, I ended up putting them in the same container, but then I dyed them totally differently just to see what would happen. So when the ice melts and the dye moves around, would their colors end up looking similar, or would they just stay totally separate from one another? For the one on the left where I added all the clothespins, I added lavender, plum blossom, and dragon's heart, just to kind of give them a purpley greeny look. For the one on the right, the triangularly folded pants, I added better black, pewter, and bronze to go for something a little bit moodier. For this skirt, I tried folding it up like I did with the pants, but then I realized that it was a little too A-line in shape, so there was a lot more fabric at the bottom than at the top, so it wouldn't really be like a perfectly even fold. I decided to embrace that, so I folded the bottom many more times than I did the top, just to see what would happen. This is another skirt that I worked on where I tied it up with some more of those concentric rings. But this time, before applying the ice and the powdered dye, I used a pipette to directly apply some marigold color dye to certain sections, just to make sure that I get some of that true marigold color, which is one of my all-time favorites. I then sprinkled on some better black and warrior princess over the fabric, and then applied the ice directly on top of the dye. When you put the dye on top of the ice melts and then distributes the dye around the fabric in a smooth and blurry way. When you put the dye under the ice, like I did here, the dye is already in contact with the fabric, so the colors are a little bit less blurred together. It's a pretty subtle effect, but a fun one to play around with.
Hey, what are we making?
Trash can nachos.
Where's our trash can?
Goya soda crackers.
While we waited for our pieces to melt and for the ice maker to make us some more ice, we also decided to get creative with dinner, and we made Guy Fieri's trash can nacho recipe, which is a genuinely perfect nacho recipe. Similarly to the ice dyeing process, making these nachos involves strategic layering to create a dish where each and every chip is perfectly coated with cheese and toppings. And you know what? I think we nailed it.
Next step, we got more to do. We gotta make a cocktail. We can't have this out. There we go.
Ryan's on the cocktail.
Sprinkle on a little bit of the pico de
Yeah.
gallo.
Okay.
Wow.
This feels like an unnecessary machine.
They just shoveled it.
Yeah, he really like.
Yeah. The moment the trash
Oh,
can.
it feels good. It feels good. It's gonna fall.
Wow.
It looks
And while we ate, our ice melted outside. I just wanted to say a quick thank you to my Patreon members who help support my channel. As a thank you for your support, I'm going to upload a document all about ice dyeing onto my Patreon. So if you want to learn even more about this whole process, you can click the link in this video's description to visit my page, see the new ice dyeing document, and also check out all the other goodies that I have available. Thank you so much again for supporting my creative adventures. The next day, my dad got a lawnmower that he was super excited to test out. My parents had just moved to New Jersey, and this was their first time having a lawn to mow, so my dad was pretty excited about that. We then took to the freshly cut grass to unwrap our dyed pieces. With ice dyeing, the dyed fabrics always look super dark and muddy right after taking them out of the dye bath, and you still won't know exactly how they're actually going to turn out until you wash them. But it's still so fun to unwrap everything and to catch a glimpse of how things might turn out. Here's the first piece I dyed in the video, the kimono with the concentric rings. And here's the pair of pants, which I folded up triangularly and then dyed with some dusty, moody colors. I'm not really sure where this pop of green came from. I'm assuming it's from the other pants that it shared a bucket with, but I still really like how these turned out. And here are those pants that I folded in a super unhinged way with all the pleats and the clothespins, and I love these. They feel kind of reptilian in a way. And here's that A-line skirt, which I folded and folded, and then I dyed with a whole bunch of blues and purples. You can really see how adding some more folds at the bottom created a really cool effect. And then here's the skirt that I tied up with the same concentric rings and then pipetted the marigold dye onto. Hopefully you can see how in this little bundle right here, I applied the marigold right at the top. So then when I open it, the center of the circle is nice and yellow. Overall, I really like how this skirt turned out. And now that the fabrics are washed and dried, I can officially show you how all of our pieces turned out.
It's all ready. Show me the fit. No, don't say that. No, don't say that.
It looks like.
No, it doesn't.
Does it look like I pissed myself?
No, it doesn't. Do a twirl. Do a twirl. Do a twirl.
And here's how my pieces turned out. It's amazing how much bolder and brighter everything looks after a wash. This purple skirt is just so much more playful and vibrant. And this kimono is unexpectedly so much more green than it looked before, which I love because green is a color I wear a lot. I was also super happy with how this yellow skirt turned out. It's very earthy and moody. And here are my two pairs of pants, which I am so happy with. Again, I don't really understand what happened here color-wise because on the ones I'm holding, I added a ton of purples to the mix. But regardless, I know these pants are gonna get tons of wear.
That's so pretty. Show me the shirt. It's a really cute outfit.
And here's a shirt that Ryan dyed. He was trying to create an abstracted palm tree, which is on the left, and a sun on the pocket, and I think it turned out beautifully. We even dyed a shirt for my dad.
Beautiful. Give me a twirl. Okay, give me a twirl now.
What is twirl?
Like a spin.
Oh, I can't.
Cool.
No, just like a nice normal, like.
Okay. Here is nice,
That's what I do.
normal.
Thank you. Beautiful.
And as you can tell, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Do you have a favorite of any of the pieces that I dyed? I genuinely like them all, and I know that I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of these, so you'll definitely see them in future videos. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me on this colorful adventure. I know this was a little bit of a different format than when I usually post here on YouTube, but I hope it was still fun to watch and maybe even a little bit informative. Anyway, I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!